Hey everybody, this is Pat Torpy from Mr. Big, and you're listening to Music Mania.
You ready for some screaming heavy metal? We rock!
But the evil that men do lives on.
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here's your host, Clint Switzer.
Well, I hope everyone's having a safe and happy 4th of July weekend. Welcome to the Music Mania podcast. Thank you so much for subscribing, hitting that download button on iTunes, checking us out on YouTube. Any way that you come across this podcast, we really appreciate it. And we have a big guest this week as former Pantera, former Down, Kill Devil Hill bassist Rex Brown is going to be joining us in just a little bit to talk about his newest solo effort. It's called Smoke This. It's out on July 28th, and I tell you what, Rex is bringing it with this thing, man. He's singing vocals, he's playing guitar. This is just a down and dirty Texas Roadhouse rock album, and I can't tell you how excited a lot of people are for this release. You know, you've seen some of the videos that have been released. The Train song is something that's it's been out. It's a great video, really good song. I tell you what, Rex is really bringing it with this thing, and Rex is a different cat. You know, we've had this interview in the can for a few weeks now as we've been kind of backlogged with interviews. It's been a crazy busy summer so far, hitting shows like Def Leppard, Mr. Big, Warrant, getting interviews with all those, and we've got a lot going on the rest of the summer. But hey, this is a great time of the year in America. I tell you what, you can go out, see a show, getting all the fireworks celebrations. You're going to the lake, doing stuff with the family. That's what it's all about here in America, and it is the 4th of July weekend, and this is our special Independence Day version of the Music Mania podcast, and we can't thank everybody enough for joining us, for everything that you guys do, whether it be providing feedback, listening to the shows, hitting us up, asking us to bring guests on. We love all of it, and we can't thank you enough. So without further ado, we are going to get to this week's interview, which is with ex-Pantera bassist Rex Brown, right after this. If you miss the experience and atmosphere of an old-school record store, then visit CD Warehouse in Gladstone, your one-stop shop for CDs, vinyl, t-shirts, and more. We just moved downstairs from our previous location, so visit us at 2504 Northeast 57th Terrace in Kansas City, Missouri, or call 816-455-2130. CD Warehouse, 22 years strong in North Kansas City, Missouri. And don't forget, we buy, sell, and trade. Hey, Rex, how's it going there, my man?
Going great, dude. How are you?
Hey, doing great. This is awesome. I just now got a hold of the album. I just now saw the video for the Train song, man. Just crossed my wire about 30 minutes ago, man. That's a great video. All good things coming up here for you, man.
Yeah, I've been working fucking hard.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about.
Well, I told myself I was going to take a couple of years off. Goddamn, here I go again. It's like the Godfather 3.
Yeah, I was going to say.
They suck you back in.
It's just like the Mafia, absolutely.
But, fuck it.
Hey.
It's just what I do, man. It's just rock and roll,
That's exactly right. And, of course, July 28th, Smoke on This. The whole album's going to come out. Let's, before we get into some of this, just kind of talk about kind of how this all came about. You talked about being sucked back in. You were kind of, you were in a lot of bands. You've done some stuff with Phil Anselmo with Down. You've done Kill Devil Hill. Kind of took you a few years off. Why this project and why now?
Why not? It was just one of those things where I got on the bus and I was going, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. Rolling around and like fucking sitting around waiting and play a show, and then I'm going, you know what? You haven't had time to smell the fucking real coffee in a long time. You haven't watched the grass. Just sit with a cup of coffee and watch the grass grow. You haven't seen your kids in forever. You need to go take care of you for a while. I didn't have any drug problems or alcohol. I quit drinking years ago. But it was one of those where I was just, I was getting, what's the word I'm looking for? Wasn't burnt, because I love playing. but I was just going, I want to go do my own shit. And that's when I finally just said, you know what, I've got these tracks, and I bounced them around. First I bounced them around the Kill Over Hill guys, and, you know, or Mark, and he just couldn't make it happen with what he wanted to do. And we had recorded some stuff, I guess, about 8 months later, and that just, it wasn't where I was going. And so I went to the Summer NAMM up in Nashville in 2015. That sounds like a long time ago, but it really wasn't. For me, it wasn't. I think as we grow a little older, you know, time just slips away so goddamn fast. I just, you know, got into this amazing relationship, you know, with this woman I'd been with before Pantera. I was wanting that to blossom. I couldn't let it blossom on the road. There's a lot of reason for me taking off, and plus I didn't owe anybody a goddamn thing. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
I needed time for me. You know, I'd been out there giving it my all for 25 years. It was time for me to take, you know, to try to tackle. And I just started writing songs with this buddy of mine, Lance Harville, that lived in Nashville. And he had just moved there about a year, or about, I don't know, a few months before I went to Summer NAMM. And Summer NAMMs are these real laid back, you know, you pay for your parents, go in and you sign up and you just hang out with a bunch of, you know, industry guys. And it's a real laid back affair. But I got to meet a whole, you know, there's a rock and roll community up there now. And so I met this drummer that turned me on to this producer. They had a studio, or basically just a friend that had the studio, and we started producing this thing together, though he's credited as producer on this thing. I'll give him this credit where it's due. He had to put up with my ass for fucking 6 months. So, you know, we started with, like, you know, I had 24 songs. I narrowed it down to 13, and then we finally ended up with 11 at the end of the day. So I've been sitting on this since, you know, December or even earlier. We went back and recorded the drums on this because I just didn't like the drum sound, and we were starting to polish turds, and went back and recorded the guitars, and we never touched the bass, and just tried to go back and get the vocals a little bit better, even though couldn't touch some of the first ones that we did. You know, it was just, man, it was fun going back and playing music that wasn't just had to go back to the riff, or it had to go back to this, or just, I wanted to get real simple with this one. Just don't bore us, get straight to the fucking chorus, and get out. You know, make your point with the song, and then do what you gotta do. You know, if you listen to the Beatles tracks, they don't have a track longer than, you know, if you listen to Come Together, it's 3 minutes and 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just get to it, but it you know, I wanted this first record, I wanted where it leaves you hanging a little bit where you want more. You know, not intentionally, but in a weird, yes, it was intentional.
Well,
you know, it wants you to move on to the next track so you can hear something different. You know, but I wanted to make all this, you know, these different sounds that I had in my head. I wanted to use the studio this time. I let the studio use it as a palette, as what can I do with this? What can I make this trippier of? But let's harken back. You know, I was listening to a lot of vinyl. I was listening to a lot of old playlists of stuff of the 70s, man. You know, I'm a child of the 70s, man. I grew up with that kind of shit. I was smoking a lot of weed and fucking listening to, you name it, you know. There's so much great music that came out of that era, you know, and I think it's just been lost on kids, and I think it's why it's so stale today, because people just don't understand the vibe of what that whole generation was. It wasn't the 60s that was all about rock and roll. It's the 70s that was all about rock and roll. You know?
Yeah.
It really was. I mean, there was so much diverse stuff coming out between the 70s. You butt all that stuff together, and you take all the influences that I learned as a kid, you know, and I had to figure out, why am I doing this in the first place? Well, love of music, you know, and that's sometimes that's, you know, that's what I say, I guess, in the bio. You have to go backwards to go forwards. You really do. I mean, why did I start doing this shit anyway? I could sit on my couch the rest of my life if I want to. I don't want to do that. You know, I want to keep being creative. You know, and so here I am today talking to you.
Yeah, and it's just getting a chance to run through it before we called in.
It was certainly a process, but it was something I was really happy to do and very proud of. You know.
It is, and I wasn't sure what to expect because when I heard you were going to do your own vocals for this, like I don't know what Rex sounds like. What's this going to be like? And I just got to hear it just now. Talk about just kind of doing your own vocals.
Rex knew what he sounded like, but we'd never been on a track before.
Right.
Never been on his own solo track, except for one song that I did with there's some Kiss tribute or something.
And you have a very distinct voice.
Tweeting stuff, and people just hit me left and right about this video, and I'm like, fuck off. I can't turn it off.
You've got a great voice, though. It's something that goes totally with this album. You talk about the 70s. It sounds like you talk about the 70s. That really stood out to me because I know you're from Texas, so it's like the 70s. You think about like the music that was coming out of there, even in the 70s, from the blues stuff, from Stevie Ray Vaughan, the stuff that you could just I picture hearing this album just blaring out at some Texas saloon down there. And
a lot of people are calling all kinds of stuff. Look, I was raised around the blues. You know, when me and Don were growing up, their old man had a studio. We used to sit there, you know, just during the week, and there'd be sessions going on, and we had the luxury to just sit and they had a couch in front of the board. And so these guys would be, you know, rip-roaring. We'd stay up till, you know, midnight when it just started getting rolling, and then, you know, the old man, they'd start smoking weed, and he'd chase out of the studio, you know. But we got to learn firsthand how these guys just got full on the floor and did it, you know, and there was their cut, you know. That was a track. Everything was isolated, but then they got full on the floor and just, you know, the guys started singing, and usually they come back and overdub vocals. We got to see that from a very early age, and that's something that's you know, Pantera was such a microscope. You know, we had to put everything, it was isolated. We had to, you know, do this part separately, overdub this, and do it, you know, but it was all on floor. It was all on huge 24 track. You know, so I wanted to go back to recording that way. You know, floor on the floor, just me, the guitar player, and I didn't sing on this one when we were doing that because I was still trying to find my voice and find the lyrics, and, you know, I was still writing and everything else. But, man, it was cool as fuck doing this thing, you know, and I just about wore the producer. I didn't want to talk to him for about 2 or 3 months. And, but, you know, I stay at his house every time I go into Nashville and put the whole band up there now, you know. It's cool. He's got a great place. I mean, just unreal.
And Caleb Sherman, of course, you're talking about working on this thing. My gosh, you had to bring in some heavy hitters. You know, you brought drums, or I think were tracked by Christopher Williams.
Oh, Chris Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
Christopher turned me on to, you know, we had met as friends through a photographer buddy of mine, and I was doing a shoot for one of my endorsements, and so I met Christopher, and he was super, super cool, and he came down to the studio. Actually, he came out to, we had a couple of studios that we were working at. I worked at one at Lance's house, and finally moved into Caleb's place. So I think Christopher, we sat and rehearsed for maybe 5 or 6 hours before we went in the studio the next day and cut 11 songs in the next 2 or 3 days. Because I thought I was just going to go in and, you know, record it. You know, I had a 3-day little, you know, thing. So I said, well, let me go put this down and see what we can do in those 3 days. And my 3 days usually are straight through 3 days, you know. Like, I need about 4 hours sleep and I'm good to go. But those 3 days turned into a year. You know, you know, life sometimes gets in the way. I bought a home here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and we gutted the whole place, knocked down walls, repainted the whole son of a bitch, put all European hardwood flooring in it. You know, it's one of those labors of love, and so it took me a little roadblock for about 4.5 months, and then I got back to the record and we finished it off about this time last year.
And the cool thing about this too, Rex, you got You got the Pledge Music thing coming up, man. That if you want to pre-order the thing, it's July 28th. But talk about the Pledge Music, you can go on there. A lot of different items, a lot of different things you can get that pre-orders you the album and kicks in on this thing. The Pledge Music. That's how how things get done these days, man. That's hopefully that's been a good venture for you guys.
Yeah, well, it's been really, really good. I looked into that stuff before because I didn't know how I was going to put this music out. I didn't want to. There was a bidding war going on for this stuff, and I was like, I want to throw my music on the wall and see if it sticks. It's so easy to do these days, and so I'm at the whole process. I do like 4 songs, and I sent it to my buddy Scott Gibbons over at E1, and he was showing really serious interest, and then. I'd go do another 4 and finish those off, and then, mix all of them, and then master all of them, and then, and then I'd do another 4, and I did another 4 that, 3 of them didn't make it on the record. So it was, man, I just didn't want to stop, But at a certain point, I burned every lick out of every motherfucker that I could, including myself, when I put, if I'm going to make a record, I'm going to put every resource and everything that I can into it, and so we worked and we worked and we worked and we mixed and we remixed and we took that mix and threw it out the window and, went back to scratch, It was one of those who wanted it to be, maybe it was overproduced, we should have just let fly with whatever came out the very first time. I've got so many. I probably have 100 different mixes of the fucking record in different formats. So, dude, it was fun playing music again. That's the whole fun of the matter. If you got a dream, stick with it. That's what I've always done. But if you're gonna do it, you better give it 110%. And that means from, since this was my first solo record, I had all the pictures, I had all the stuff, I had to put all the fucking art together. Even though I had to, the big companies and everybody else helping me, I had a vision for this. Black and white, rock and roll, tied together. This is what we're going to do. Yeah. And then I put a band together in the process during the last, 6 months. And threw these guys in a room, and it's 6-piece. I'm playing guitar. I've got 2 other guitar players. Johnny Kelly, my trusted buddy from old friend from Typo that I've known 25 plus years. It's one of those things where, I just kind of we put all these guys in a room, and bam, I had to walk out after 30 minutes. We had played like 3 tracks, and everybody knew the record. Everybody's very professional. And I walked out in the parking lot and just started screaming. I couldn't believe how good it was. It's going to be, God damn, here I go again,
Back in.
I'm back to fucking work, man. I got to get back to work,
Are you going to tour on this thing at all? What's the shows? Are you going to do some shows on this?
We're doing shows on this.
Hell yeah.
We're doing shows. We're going to find, no, it ain't. We're not going to tour with Hell Yeah, the band. It's just, it's fun than picking the ones that you want to go to, no more of the days of the handshakes and playing all the clubs and, all that kind of stuff. I've been past that for a long time. But you never know. I might put the boys in the back of a fucking van or something big enough to put all 6 of us in with the road crew, and you never know. You'll find out who the real true gentlemen are and who aren't.
Or who can survive. I'll tell you what, if you want to feel a little old today...
it is survival.
It is survival.
Especially on the road with me.
You were such an integral part of one of the biggest metal bands of all time in Pantera, but if you want to feel a little old today, 25 years since Vulgar Display of Power, man. That's some shit right there when you think about that. It doesn't make me feel... That's crazy.
Was that today?
No, it was a couple months ago. It was in February, but still, just 25 years in February. That's insane.
It seems like yesterday.
Yeah, doesn't it?
It really does. And dude, you know what's crazy was when we were in the studio doing this thing, I haven't had that feeling, I guess because I was driving the ship, that I haven't had that feeling in a long time, of that kind of camaraderie and that chemistry. It was really good. We got to wrap this up real quick, buddy. I'm sorry I was late.
Hey.
I had to go pee.
Rex, no problem, my man. Hey, good stuff. Can't wait for the album July 28th coming out. Thanks so much for calling in, man. We'll catch up soon. Get your ass to Kansas City, and we'll find you a venue. We'll make this happen on the tour.
That's the whole thing, my friend, trying to find those venues,
Hey,
They're few and far between in America.
I'll help you out. I'm in touch with your manager.
You'll see me in an arena soon.
Hell yeah, brother. Hey, thanks so much, man. We'll catch up soon.
See you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
man. And a big thanks to Rex for joining us. I'll tell you what, he had to go to the bathroom, had to cut it off. So that's how it ended here on the Music Mania podcast. But hey, Rex is a different cat. Good dude. A little different than some of the other interviews we've done, but he's very forthright, tells it like it is. That's what we love about him. Rex Brown, thanks so much. And I tell you what, hope everybody has just a great Independence Day, great 4th of July weekend, whatever you're doing out on the lake, hitting a concert. Hope that's what you guys are up to, because there's so many a lot of great tours going on right now. We got Iron Maiden in America. Kind of a rarity, they don't do a lot of extended American dates. Go see Iron Maiden if they're out there. In fact, I'm going to be hitting LA and Vegas here in the next week or so. So hoping to get some good interviews out on the road while I'm there. Guys, this is a huge pleasure for us to bring you this podcast each and every week. We thank you so much for listening. If you have any ideas for guests, please hit us up. We will be glad to look into that for you. And I tell you what, hope you are celebrating in grandiose fashion. And until next week here on the Music Mania podcast, we will be joined by none other than Broken Teeth, Dangerous Toys frontman Jason McMaster. So look forward to that. Thank you so much once again. Clint Switzer and the Music Mania podcast saying goodbye for now, but not forever. Thank you so much.